the way up here. So all the way up, everywhere I've got this color number 4, that equates to takedown number 4, which is 3545.
Fine.
Okay? See the line next to it? So takedown, line number 10 here is for the takedown for knitting. Line number 11, which is next to it, is the takedown setting for transferring, and that's 11. If we look at 11 here, takedown 11 for transfer is 30 to 60. Okay? If I wanted to put an additional takedown in, I could just put a different color here. And then I could indicate that color takedown number 3 is 20 to 25. Okay? So wherever I put a color number in here, I can give it a value on the machine. Do you remember the value? So for takedown number 4, we're knitting a takedown value of 3540. For takedown number 11, we're knitting a takedown value of 30 to 60. Okay? And that's pretty much all the way up, except where it's knitting just a tiny bit of around the draw thread area. It's using takedown 3, which is the same as takedown 4 anyway. So it was just there to give you the option of changing the takedown, but it's the same value as 4, so don't worry about that. So pretty much everywhere I've got different colors up these two lines here, I can have different takedown values. Does that make sense? And now the speed one. Can you see the way it says number 1, 2 on this here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. So speed 1, 2, 3, and 7. Okay, so speed 1 is number 11. So everywhere I've got 11 here, it's going to knit at speed.
How you rated this with 11?
11 equates to 1, 12 equates to 2, 13 equates to 3, and 17. It just does. It just does. That's the way it does. When I put color number 11 here, that equates to speed number 1 on the machine.
Okay.
When I put color number 12 here, that equates to speed number 2 on the machine. Okay? So
this is just one complete column is for the speed.
Yeah, 2 columns.
2 columns.
And actually I've put them on the same speed. So column number 5 is the speed when it's knitting, and column number 6 will be the speed when it's transferring.
Okay.
Okay? So a bit like takedown, you've got your takedown when you're knitting, takedown when you're transferring. Speed when you're knitting, speed when you're transferring. So if you wanted to, you could knit really fast. And then if you wanted to go really slow when it's transferring, you'd have a different speed in there. Okay? So you're using speeds 11, 12, 15, is that what one's? That's 11, okay, and then 12. So can you see here, this is your inlay. This is when you're doing the inlay of the wire, and everywhere you're doing the inlay of the wire, I've told you to do it at speed number 2.
Yeah, fine.
Speed number 2 equates to 0.05 meters per second, and so it's very slow.
On top of it, for example, here you're not using, but why it's slow?
Because it's just after the spacer there. Not 100% sure. It might not need to be that slow. You could probably speed that up. So you could change that speed if you wanted to. But it's absolutely critical that the inlays are going at the speed of 0.5. Okay?
Okay.
So if we put in inadvertently somewhere else, it slows it down, but it's not that important because it's not going to affect the quality of your fabric.
Okay, fine.
Okay, so that's your speeds. Next up is your stitch. Okay, so the speed and the takedown are put on the left option lines. The stitch is put on the right option line, and it's put on the right option line number 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Just a question. Don't you think these so many lines on the left hand side and the right hand side, they are not really user friendly? I mean,
I don't know. I've worked with it for 15 years. It's easy.
It's easy.
You know, with experience,
I mean,
it's a good. It is actually. I find it a good system. Some people who've not used it before do find it difficult.
so many lines, I mean, here.
Yeah, but you've got to think. You've got a lot of information you need to put down. You've got to put the speed settings in. Now, how would you've got two options of inputting this information. One is to draw your program and then maybe type in all the information. I want you to knit it. Because you've got to say...
No, you might have dialog boxes. Or
yeah, but how? You've got to indicate a speed for this line, 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 this line. That's a very simple way of doing it, putting one line of a colour corresponding directly for each line of knitting.
The only way is that you should have a very clear idea what these lines means here.
Yes,
exactly.
but that comes
with experience.
That comes with experience,
okay.
Absolutely. There's
fine.
which is
it looks horrible, you know, when you first see it. What are these colors? I mean,
it does look very complex, but but then you're trying to pack so much information in each of your programs. Sometimes people think knitting should be really simple, but you've got a very complex machine with loads of needle movements, knitting at different qualities, different speeds, repeats. You know, it is incredibly complex technology. So do you remember I said when we were knitting the full cardigan, we're doing that. So this is your full cardigan here. So if I zoom this up, okay, I'm going to turn. Option line. Okay, so if we look at it here, full cardigan is this section here, front knit, back tuck, back knit, front tuck. So your classic full cardigan. Everywhere in line 6 on the kind of space next to it, everywhere I put 11 in, that tells it to knit at quality 11 here, which is 25. Then if we look at the spacer section, which is here, so spacer section here, if I look across here, everywhere it's doing the spacer, it's doing it at quality 5. If we look here, on this section here, we can see that quality 5 is stitch size 20.
Okay.
Yep. Then we go up to, remember I said quality 10 is the edge of the tubular. This is just this section here. Do you remember on your sensor you've got your center section of your sensor, and then you've got your section either side where it doesn't have the inlay. Okay, so we've just done that section either side at a different quality, so you can kind of tighten it up to make it neater. So that's knitting at, that tubular section is knitting at 10, which if we look here is 30, which if you compare to the main part of the knitting, which is knitting on quality 6, is 38. So there's 8 points difference between the edges of the fabric and the center, okay, in the actual stitch size. Okay, so everywhere you want to, for every line of knitting you have here, you need to have a corresponding stitch quality. Okay, so if you wanted to maybe knit these on different qualities, you'll just put more qualities in there. You've got something like 44 different qualities you can put in one program.
Okay.
Okay, so you've got a lot of qualities.
All these qualities, they are marked with different color.
Yes, so colors 1 to 44 would be your different, they're not the actual qualities. This isn't the quality, this just relates to the number on this page here. So number 5 equates to number 5 here, and on the machine at point number 5 you input 20, 20, 20, 20. Does that make sense? So these are like addresses. So at address number 5 on the machine you've input quality 20. At address number 6 on the machine you've input quality 38. Okay, so these color numbers directly correspond to these numbers here. They don't correspond to what you put in there. Does that make sense? So what you put in there can vary.
Can vary, yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes people make the mistake of saying, oh, I knit this at quality 5 and this at quality 6. but they're not the qualities, they're the